Oh, hey, there you are. I heard you wanted to grade your Pokemon cards. Well, let me show you how. Come with me. Hey, thanks for following me over. If you're already a member or you're going to sign in or join now, from here, it tells you completion date times estimated. They update this pretty regularly. As you can see, if you're Premium Plus, but you're spending a lot of money on, your grading services, then, you're gonna get it faster. But regular economy, which most people send it, you're looking at 30 to 90 days. You get some other service levels. There's different dealers and other value things. And then if you want to grade anything other than Pokemon cards, there's some options for those. You're gonna enter your email after you click join now. And then information there, password, make sure you create a secure password. And then I recommend reading the user agreement and privacy policy just to make sure that you're not agreeing to something that you don't understand. So we're gonna go ahead and click the agree and continue. And it's gonna send you a verification code to your email address. Get your verification code, put it in, verify. It's gonna have you put your password in one more time, and then you're gonna continue to PSA. So regular or small size cards are the cards we're talking about. You're gonna be grading, and this is with no autograph, but you can do autograph if you want to. We're gonna do economy because it's cheaper, and you're gonna enter in the card that you want to send out. Most of them will already be in the description. However many quantity, and this is much easier than the paper system. And then the declared value. You're gonna wanna be as accurate as possible. Ship back to you unless you wanna send it to their vault. You're gonna enter your card information and personal information for billing. From there, confirmation, verifying everything's correct, and then you're gonna get your shipping information that you're gonna put within the packaging. Now we're gonna go over packaging for you guys. But as you saw from the submission form, depending on how many cards you're sending out and how quickly you want them back, grading cards can honestly cost you a lot of your hard-earned money, but it doesn't necessarily have to. If you're careful about the cards that you're choosing to send out for grading, you could potentially even make money off of grading cards. If you're comfortable evaluating your cards already, then go ahead and skip to the next portion of the video. But if you feel like you could use some help, here's a few things that we think you should look out for when you send your cards for grading. To properly examine your card, you're going to want to look at 4 primary things: the corners, the surface, the edges, and the centering. Centering is usually one of the easier things to tell. Sometimes you can be really close, and depending on the grader, they may or may not grade in your favor. Surface is probably one of the harder ones, along with edges, and then corners are usually pretty self-explanatory as long as you've got sufficient lighting. On this card in particular, the surface looks pretty clean at first glance. No real issues to report. Sometimes you get print lines in the hollow on certain holographic cards. On this one, we don't see any, even in changing the light that's refracting off of there. Centering looks pretty good. Left is a little bit wider than the right. On the back, it's a little more drastic than it is on the front, the right being wider than the left. Top to bottom, looks about the same on both sides. Surface with normal cards, non-V, VMAX, alt art, full art, none of the special cards, anything that is a rare and below, essentially, with the exception of special sets. As long as it has this similar configuration with the yellow border, you should be able to pretty clearly tell if there's any issues with the surface pretty quickly. The edges can be a little difficult. So I'll show you an example of a clean edge. This is a clean edge. When you compare it to the edge on the other side, you can see some discoloration where it's slightly more blue based on some edge fraying, damaging that's happened over time. The surface, corners, centering, and the edges. All in all, when you take into consideration everything that is, I would say, wrong with this card in terms of trying to get a perfect grade, we would probably be sitting around an 8.5 to a 9, just because the centering is not so drastically off that I think that it would deduct us beyond a 9. The corners, while slightly miscut, are pretty typical in terms of how they're cut. And the edges, I think it would most likely be based on whether or not the grader is sufficiently looking at it in the right angle and the right light. But all in all, beautiful card. I would most likely send it out for grading. Maybe not BGS, but likely PSA. BGS is a little tougher than PSA in terms of grading. So I would send this out. If you have a card similar to this and you're looking to get 10s, I probably would not send it out for your sake, but for the sake of collecting and preserving an absolutely beautiful card, it's worth it. Hopefully that helps. When it comes to packaging your items, typically it's going to depend on how many items you're sending out at a time. If you're only sending between 1 and 5, you may be able to get away with just using the bubble mailers, where you can put your cards in top loaders, secure them with some type of cardboard on the outsides, or some type of like flat plastic to keep it from bending, send them off in the bubble mailer. In the event that you have more than that, or maybe your top loader is wider, or you'd prefer to just add some more bubble wrap, maybe some extra protective layers, a small box is the most ideal. Typically, you want to keep it as close to the size of the item that you're actually sending to reduce the amount of space it takes up, because it's going to cost you more to ship it, to reduce the potential chance that it may get shifted around in transit. Once you send your product off, you'll obviously have your tracking information if you pay for a sufficient level of shipping for tracking. From there, once the product is received by the grading service, you should then get some form of update, either by email or phone call, depending on if there's any issues, that your item has been received, that they're working on it. Depending on if there's a backlog, which over the last few years has been fairly common. In the event that you run into that scenario, most likely, I would expect to almost double the amount of time the grading service you paid for calls for. That's just personal experience. They've been getting better. They've opened more warehouses across most of the grading service businesses. So not necessarily a concern there, but something to consider. Receive your email or phone call, you'll log into your account, and usually you can see what the grades are, subgrades if you paid for subgrades depending on which grading service you used, and you can kind of know and expect what is coming back to you, so that if you do decide to sell them, you can prepare your posts for when they arrive, so that you're not waiting until the last minute to get the information that you need. Something to keep in mind is, depending on the grading service and the shipping service that they use to send back to you, the possibility exists that if you are not home when the cards arrive to sign for the cards, that they may be held at the shipping service provider, UPS, USPS, FedEx, till the point where you're able to go pick them up. Massively inconvenient for those that work during the hours that they are open. However, usually you can try to coordinate and reschedule a drop-off or something like that by going onto the shipping or delivery services website. I want to give a huge shout out to Streambeats, providing the royalty-free music that is in this video. We are not sponsored in any sort of way. We do not receive anything from this. So if you guys have not checked out Streambeats before, streambeats.com, you can download all of the tracks that they have. It's in a Google Drive, super easy to use, highly recommended. So go check them out. Senpai Gaming, Harris Heller, thank you guys tremendously. Your music has made a huge difference in the industry, so thank you. Super easy to use, highly recommended. So go check them out. Senpai Gaming, Harris Heller, thank you guys tremendously. Your music has made a huge difference in the industry, so thank you. All right, guys, good luck with all of your grading adventures. Hopefully this information helped you out so that you can be on your way to getting your first or additional PSA 10s. If you like this comment, please leave a like. Comment down below if this helped you out, and if you're not subscribed already, well, you know what to do. As always, guys, stay safe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.